Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I study my ass off. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny.
When we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Long Balls, the 3 longest balls America has to offer. Seth, Sailor Boy, Jordan. Want to go around the horn real quick? We did it last week. I think it's important that we do this. Seth, what's one thing you learned this week besides that someone died?
I learned that JBONE is such a shitty co-host / friend / Pod Foundation member that he couldn't even be bothered to give us a fucking excuse on why he couldn't be here. Like, if you're out there, if you got to flake out on your friends, at least have the decency of lying to them and make some shit up. Don't just say I got shit I got to do. So, JBONE, fucking swig a beer for you, buddy.
I also learned that excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one and they all stink.
It's true. I learned to stop fucking betting on sports I don't know anything about. 0-2 against Jordan this week. Last week, between the 2 weeks. No, if we could...
With ultimate faith, too. You're like, oh, yeah, Cowboys are going to cover. And these guys were telling you in the group thread, oh, that might cover. You might be all right. They knew it wasn't going to cover.
It should have covered. I contend that I make bets to where...
You bet on the Cowboys.
I contend that if the players played the way they're supposed to play, my bets are good.
Dak
Unfortunately,
played the exact way he was supposed to play.
They don't play the way they're supposed to play, and therefore I lose my bets.
This whole time I thought the long ball was just a way for a group of buds to get together once a week and talk football. Now I realize it's just been Jordan working the long con and just slowly drain Hawks' fucking bank account, dude. Like, by the end of next season, the Hawks gonna have a fucking soup can with a string, so he's gonna be fucking recording on, dude.
We'll see if we can find a game this week. I'll fucking bet again. I'm not afraid.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with the topic Jordan absolutely did not want to talk about, but we're going to make it quick because I think it's fucking warranted. So there is this conspiracy theory, and I'll say it's a conspiracy theory because I'm not taking a yay or nay view on it. I'm just merely saying it's weird. And there's a conspiracy theory that Damar Hamlin actually died. And they've been like wheeling out a body double for some like sort of weird brand shit. And again, I'm not taking a side on it. However, I'll say this. If Damar Hamlin is alive, he is actively trolling conspiracy theorists. He's actually made a point to be like, I am going to perpetuate this as a way to buy into where people will Google me more to see what's going on. Because everyone can fucking admit the footage they shot at the game is so fucking weird. They go so out of their way to not show his face. They show his family's entire body. Like, you see his family, not him. And then a lot of people are like, well, look at his Instagram post. He took a picture of himself without a mask by his mural. It's so fucking far and out of focus. They don't mention that the other picture in that Instagram post, he's wearing this weird fucking mask where you can't see his face.
Big ass sunglasses.
So, Seth, what do you think, man?
So I would be willing to bet he's not as okay as everyone is it's being made out to be. I have zero doubts that was not him at the game on Sunday. I think the Bills had wanted him to be there and they thought it'd be a big boost. And they're like, here, let's just do this little publicity stunt because there's just no way they would have had a shot. Someone would have had a selfie with him at the game or, it's social media, man. You can't fucking take a shit in public without somebody getting a picture of you nowadays, and it's just impossible that there was no shots of his face. So I think it definitely wasn't him at the game. And I think the other thing is I think he knows his playing days are most likely over. He's got a very limited window that he can cash in on this whole event, and more power to him. He should. And I think he's got agents and managers letting him know, like, dude, you need to limit all access right now. Wait until you do an interview with fucking Oprah or Robert Roberts, whoever, and we can fucking cash out on the first big sit down TV interview. So that's my thought, man. I think he is probably alive just because I don't think the NFL is competent enough to cover this thing up. But I think he's just I think he just knows he needs to it's straight up access to him is cash money right now, and he's gonna wait and somebody pays that money, man, to sit down with him.
All right, Jordan, what are your thoughts, bud?
So we were texting about this on Sunday, and I said exactly what Seth just said. There's no way that somebody on the Bills would not have blown this by now. And the fact that his family was there, dude, I don't care how much money somebody paid me to cover up one of my family members' death. There's no way. I don't think there's a way. But DeMar Hamlin tweeted today. Hold on. Well, someone tweeted on DeMar Hamlin's account.
There you go. George's coming around.
Seth is 100% right on this. He is waiting for the payday. So here is the tweet from today. He said, thankful for all the genuine love, thoughts and prayers from all across the world. Y'all will hear from me soon, which means he's got an interview lined up to tell his story now, which means he's getting paid. That, I mean, like Seth said, he's never playing again. There's no way. So you got to get paid any way you can, and he's going to get paid for that interview.
He copyright. Did we win? And 3 is back on January 6th. He was supposedly still in the hospital in critical condition at that point. And we'll leave it at that. That's all we have to say about that. Again, we're not taking a side, really. We're all just putting information out there, so don't fucking get all up in arms.
I would say, I gave my number one hypothesis he's waiting to cash in. I would not be surprised one bit if about 2 to 3 weeks after the Super Bowl on like a random Wednesday, we see it quietly reported that, DeMar Hamlin passed away last night from complications due to his injury. And then we'll know we were right. They definitely went out of their way. It's not a coincidence that we did not see him. There was something up one way or the other on why we didn't see him at all on Sunday.
Agreed. Next biggest story of the week, I'd say, is the Cowboys shit the goddamn bed again. And I know Seth said the Bills fan base, they were destined for heartache. And I contend that 31 teams fan bases have heartache every year. So it's like, you can't just say that, like, to me, it hurts as much when the Colts lost the Super Bowl to the Saints as it did when we didn't make the goddamn playoffs this year. It fucking sucks, man. But the Cowboys definitely shit the bed. And so the talk this week has been old Dak, man. Is he the answer for the Cowboys moving forward? Do they just cut him loose? What do you think?
I mean, he's not the class A, like the absolute best, but I feel like there's a whole lot. There's only a small number of guys you're going to get that are going to be an improvement from Dak. There's a ton of guys that are going to be a fucking downgrade. So I don't know. I feel like teams are just getting ridiculous on how they're grading these QBs nowadays. You could definitely win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, I think.
I don't think he can. The guy chokes every time there's a clutch situation. It's what he does, man. He panics, and he's getting paid $40 million a year to play like that. I just have never saw it with that dude. And I don't know. I think it goes all the way to the top with the Cowboys. I think Jerry Jones running that team is hurting them more than it's helping. Definitely at this point. I mean, dude, you have to remove yourself as an owner. You can't be the GM and the owner. He controls the head coach, who controls offensive coordinator. Like, I just feel like that whole team is just like Jerry Jones just sitting at the top like he's controlling Pinocchio. Like, I just don't feel like that team will ever prosper again with Jerry Jones in charge. I just don't. I feel like he has to control everything.
Yeah, but again, man, there is not many quarterbacks in the NFL at all. Dak's a top 10 quarterback. Like you say, maybe he's not. Exactly, but that's my point. So,
but that doesn't mean he's good, though. I mean, just saying he's top 10 right now doesn't mean anything. We went over this 2 weeks ago. Last 2 weeks, there's 6 really good quarterbacks that you can trust, and then everybody else.
Exactly. So the Cowboys, I don't think necessarily should move, because I've said if you don't have the quarterback on your roster that's going to take you to the Super Bowl, you should probably look for another quarterback. But unless the same fucking 3 to 4 teams win the next fucking 10 Super Bowls, which is definitely possible. I mean, Dak Prescott's like the next level. I mean, I think he could potentially take. We've seen him at his best, man. The year he got injured, he was playing fucking lights out.
Yeah.
And then he went down, and then he kind of hasn't been the same. And he's had those moments where they put up fucking 31 points in the goddamn fourth quarter against us and shit. I mean, some of that was defense, but whatever. But I just think when you have a player like Dak, I'm not saying he isn't overpaid, but
Yeah,
if the Cowboys weren't paying him $40 million, the team he went to would be
would.
paying him $40 million right now. So you say he's overpaid, but honestly, that's just kind of market value for mediocre quarterbacks these days.
I think if you take the contract out of the equation, I don't know that Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy are the two starting quarterbacks left in the NFC. I don't know that they're like any better, way better than Dak Prescott. Like if the Cowboys called the Niners and Eagles up and offered to trade them straight up, I don't know who says no on that deal.
Jalen Hurts is 100% better than Dak Prescott.
We've seen it 1 year with an absolutely loaded team, man. I am not sold on Jalen Hurts whatsoever, dude. He could barely throw the football last season.
I mean, Dak's barely been able to throw the football his whole career, so I guess what's your point?
What numbers are you looking at that says Dak can't throw the ball?
Every time he's in a clutch game, he makes game-critical interceptions. Every single time. You cannot find a time where he has not blown a big game. You can't find a time.
I mean, I would say it was a big game last Monday night against Tom Brady and the Bucs, and he dropped 4 touchdowns on them.
Was it, though? Just because we all picked the Bucs? The Bucs were overrated all year.
How is that not a big game, though?
Because the Bucs weren't even good.
They weren't even they were 8-9. They didn't even have a winning record.
I'm sorry. We put way too much into the Tom Brady's just going to fix everything on a team. He's definitely not. Tampa Bay was a bad team, and we all bought into the fact that Brady would just cover it up. That team was bad. It just is what it is.
I had a thought when I was thinking about Dak Prescott and trying to compare him to other quarterbacks in NFL history. And you know who he reminds me of? Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper. When he was fucking killing it, he was just destroyed. Like, because the year Manning had his first record-breaking season, people forget Dante Culpepper was like right there, like 1B with him stats-wise. Like Dante Culpepper was fucking killing it, but he got overshadowed by Manning. Then Culpepper got the injury, got traded to Miami, and was never the same again. And that's almost like Dak. When Dak's playing at peak, he's fucking great, and then he got that injury, and now maybe we're just never gonna see the Dak we could have. I don't know. I don't know if he's good. I know he's a top 10 quarterback.
Just last year, he dropped 37 touchdown passes and 10 interceptions. Like, you're not putting up those numbers if you can't throw the ball, man. Like, I'm not saying he's, like I said, A1 type quarterback, but he's definitely in the upper half for sure, man. I mean, if Matt Stafford could win one, he could win one.
I mean,
I will say this though.
So Dak's been in the league since 2016. He's had 2 seasons where he threw over 4,000 yards. In today's NFL, that's not good.
That's not good. It's not, I'll say this, it's not great.
Dude, he played 16 games his first 4 years and threw for over 4,000 yards one time. That's bad in today's NFL.
His career QB rating is 97.8, man. I think you're selling him a little bit short, man.
He did lose Skip Bayless though. And for Skip Bayless to fucking turn his back on you, you're in trouble, because Skip Bayless is such a fucking homer for the Cowboys, and he loved Dak. Always defended the motherfucker. Then he makes a video of throwing his jersey in the trash.
And said he would have had more faith in Cooper Rush to win that playoff game than Dak. That's bad.
There's going to be 2 49ers quarterbacks on the trade market this season.
Jimmy G can't get traded. He's a free agent.
Okay.
Yeah. Trey Lance is interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing the Titans pick Trey Lance up.
If Purdy does lead the Niners to the fucking Super Bowl, it's going to be really tough for Shanahan to convince the fan base that Trey Lance is the best decision as quarterback, because he wasn't exactly killing it before he went out with the injury. So
he only played 1.5 games, so it's kind of tough to tell.
There were reports coming out last week that it's already a done deal. Brock Purdy's going to be the starter heading into next season.
He should be the starter. He's earned it.
He's definitely going to finish out. I don't think they're going to. Jimmy G, I think.
And on that contract, that would give them at least 3 seasons where they're going to be able to just really invest in the rest of the roster and just keep running it back with a freaking loaded team.
I read an article today. It's the dumbest article I ever read. They're like, the NFL has finally discovered the magic formula for building a team. Get a good quarterback on his rookie contract and then build around him.
It's like,
what is this news? Like, dude, this has been going on for 20 years.
Professional sports, motherfucker. That's the goal. You always want to get a fucking stud on their rookie deal. And this writer was writing the article like it was this fucking revelation because he was talking about the Bengals.
Yeah, dude, Tom Brady is like the exception to that rule. Like everybody else usually wins on their rookie deal.
It's the, yeah. We'll see,
what
though.
you got to pay a quarterback $45 million, of course it's going to hurt your team.
But you know what that would do for the Niners? Being able to fucking...
I don't think they'll trade Trey Lance, though, dude. If anything, it showed them this season they definitely need at least 2 good quarterbacks. Shit, they needed 3 this year.
Yeah.
I don't think
and Trey Lance is still cheap, even though he was a first-round draft pick.
They're not going to dump him yet.
And what about that last play Dallas ran in the fucking game?
That was the funniest play I've ever seen in my life.
I was looking at the Twitter comments and someone said, did Chuck Pagano call that play? And it's like, yeah, that is fucking... That's worse. Probably that's not as worse as the fake punt, but it was.
I just
want
to know what it was going to be, man. I want to know what it was supposed to end up being. Obviously, the Niners shut that shit down from the jump, but I give points for at least trying something new, man.
That could not have been the right play, though, dude. They threw the ball to the middle of the field, and all the players were on the sidelines. That was never going to work.
I think they did. I don't know what they were going for. I'm thinking it was like they were going for just like flag football style, have nothing but pass catching runners on the field. They needed to have Dak back as like have Zeke almost like fucking long snap it to Dak and just go out for a pass. Like having Zeke snap it and then try to fucking block a guy that outweighs him by 80 pounds was just stupid. Because Zeke was totally out of the play. I was thinking they were gonna. I was assuming they were gonna try to do like the hook and ladder back to Zeke, but I don't know.
I think the Cowboys like rehearsed that play without somebody rushing the passer. Obviously, like I think they were thinking everybody was just going to drop back and wait for him to run the play. Like the 49ers were like, whatever this is, we're blowing it up.
The Niners called their bluff, but I will at least give them kudos for fucking not just. They at least were trying something, man. It was something.
It looked real good too.
You just don't get cute in that situation, in my opinion. It's to win the game.
It's a 1% chance if you do anything. If anything, at least there was at least.
You don't think they have a better chance at scoring a touchdown if they just send everyone to the fucking end zone? They line up on the line.
That was a 75.
Well, he can throw it that far, and the refs, for whatever reason, the NFL's like, we're not going to call pass interference on Hail Mary, so you can just mug the receivers, man. Like. Yeah, that clearly was a fucked up play, but I would at least, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I would at least want my coach to try something instead of just the normal shit,
Hey, they set all the linemen up on the sides of the field and threw a slant route, and we're like, all right, well, this should work.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted him to try? At least, look, I understand the odds are not in your favor throwing it down the field. It's better than throwing it 10 yards down the field. I fucking guarantee you that.
Well, we didn't see what they had called up. I don't think the play design was, hey, we're going to put Zach at center and pass it to CeeDee Lamb for 8 yards and hope he breaks a tackle. I think there was something else, that we just didn't get to see it flourish.
That safety just knew it was coming immediately, just smoked him.
Yeah, the Niners, because most of the time defenses play back in that situation, right? They end up just fucking playing off, and
the Niners were like, well, we know he can't throw the ball downfield that far, so we're just going to play up on it.
Yeah, the Niners just went in full attack mode and just fucked it all up.
Fuck.
It was
all
funny.
Right, next. What's a catch in the NFL, Seth? Can you define for me what a catch in the NFL is? And does the NFL fucking know what a catch is? This is insane. It is insane to me that we're still doing this. Like you said in the text, you could slow down every catch in the NFL.
Yeah, I think they need to go back. I mean, I go back to the sports bar rule, man. If fucking 9 out of 10 people at the sports bar agree it's a catch, it's a fucking catch, man. Like I get if the ball touches the ground or something like that, or if a dude's like actively bobbling it, but if the ball just barely shifts around a little bit in control as they're going to the ground, like that's just bullshit. Because again, we're slowing we got these 4K cameras. Slowing the shit down to fucking millisecond by millisecond. Of course, the ball's always going to fucking move, man. And it's just in total contradiction to when you run the ball on the ground where you just got to have a little fucking cunt hair of a fucking fiber of leather fucking hover over the white line for a split second. It's a fucking touchdown. So, yeah, Jamar Chase got straight up robbed. And I was so pissed off because that was just playing into the fucking whole narrative that, the NFL is just bending over backwards to get this Bills-Chiefs rematch.
I felt like the Jaguars fumble that was inside the red zone on Saturday should have got reviewed, and I couldn't believe nobody looked at it. That dude like caught the ball, took a step, and then the ball was already moving when he took his
the whole time he was like
trying to gather it in. And they didn't even review it. They just gave the ball to the Chiefs, and everybody at the bar I was at was like, Jesus Christ, dude, could the NFL rig these games any less? I'm like, no, they couldn't.
It's crazy, man. If people don't think that there's some sort of rigging going on in professional sports, they don't watch sports and they don't pay attention to betting, because there's some things that happen. You're like, what's the spread? 3? It's like, of course that's going to happen right now. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's
and
nuts.
That was like, and just the inconsistency, man, because there's some times where they'll spend fucking 15 minutes trying to decide if a guy had advanced the ball up, a half yard past the first down line or not. And then there's some calls where it's just like that and they flip it over. Like going back to that Titans-Jags game in week 18 when, they had the fumble return for a touchdown on Josh Dobbs. It was the fastest review I've ever seen. Within like 6 seconds, they were like, yep, confirmed touchdown. It was a forward pass. And there's no fucking way, man. So I don't know, man. I don't think they're ever going to go back to it, but I would not mind whatsoever if they just got rid of instant replay review and just went back to calling it on the field, whatever they call fucking stands.
The only issue is sometimes it's important fucking shit that does get overturned, or
they still fuck it up though. They still fuck it up even now with the review.
Yeah.
I feel like I could live with it more if I was like, okay, the ref was seeing that in the fucking heat of the moment and fucked up the call. But now there's sometimes where they stop the game for 10 minutes and still fuck up the call somehow.
Or don't review it.
Yeah, or just don't review it.
I don't get it. Every turnover is supposed to be reviewed, and it just feels like they pick and choose when they review them.
It's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, and the Colts, they actually had a few go their way this year as far as like reviews that you see the replay, you're like, that's definitely a fumble. And then they're like, it's not a fumble. So it works both ways. But in the end, you just want to know what a fucking catch is. That's it.
Yeah,
more so than replay.
Yeah, the catch rule. I don't think it's so much the way the rule's written. I think it's just the way the refs are like fucking interpreting it now, man. It's just the tiniest little thing, and they'll be like, nope, not a catch. It's ridiculous, man. It takes away some of the joy. I mean, that should be like the most exciting play in football, right? When your team makes an awesome touchdown catch in the back of the end zone, or as the guy's falling down, and now you can't even really fucking celebrate it because you got to fucking, go to pucker factor 10 while you're waiting to see if they actually fucking review it. And like I said, if the ball moved a half inch to the fucking left when the guy hit the ground or something.
That ball, I didn't even see the ball move in that replay, though, just for the record. Yeah. I didn't personally see it. I don't know if you guys did, but they're saying, like, even the commentators are trying to sell it, like, well, it does kind of move there. It's like, what are you watching?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely moved, but it is what it never hit the ground. That's what I don't understand.
He had control of the ball at all times. He was never like fucking bobbling it out and gathering it back in. He just fucking bounced around a little bit.
But the thing I took away from this game the most is that I think that Mahomes and Burrow separated themselves from the pack. I think we used to put Allen in there, but no, I just think it's like we have the Brady Manning of the next generation now. It's going to be Mahomes versus Burrows, and that's how it's going to be because they're clearly a step ahead of everybody. I mean, I like Josh Allen. I think he's the third best quarterback in the NFL, but I just don't think he belongs in the same company as Mahomes. And
yeah, I think as the season went on and the competition tightened up, I think he was really missing Brian Daboll, like big time, man. Like you see, like just the way his turnovers went up this year, and look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been a turnover machine last couple of years. His first year under Daboll, his turnovers went down. So I think he was really missing that coaching, and that may ultimately have been the difference on why the Bills ended up going all the way this year.
For some reason, too, it just seemed like their scheme changed so much this year. Like they made no emphasis to run the ball at all this year. Their offensive line looked like a sieve half the time when they were trying to pass block. I don't know what happened to that team, man. Maybe they bought into their hype and they just took a shit on it, but I don't know, man. That team
losing Von Miller hurt the defense too, man. That was big.
Yeah, but why did the offense regress so much? They didn't lose anything. Their offensive line looked way worse this year. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do – it just seemed like their only play was let's just pray Josh Allen throws a 50-yard pass and somebody gets under it. Like that was their offense. That's all they had.
Well, last year I had Dawson Knox in fantasy, and he
He
was
was
fucking
excellent. Yeah.
killing it for me because they were rolling, and it felt like he was spreading the targets out, and didn't feel like the Bills, from a fantasy standpoint, did as much this year.
Well, dude, Gabe Davis was projected to get like wide receiver number 1 numbers this year, and he was like a bottom end wide receiver 3 at the end of the season. Like, I don't know, man. It just, for some reason, the Bills just never got it together. And part of me thought they were cruising at the end of the season, but no, there was definitely something flawed with that team. Maybe it's McDermott, man. I don't know.
I could totally see them being a candidate for one of those teams that is like knocking on the door and they make the head coaching change, and the very next year they win the Super Bowl, But
dude, imagine if they had Daboll instead of McDermott. I think they'd be so much better right now. It's the same thing I said about the Falcons the year if they lost Super Bowl. If they would have fired Dan Quinn and hired Kyle Shanahan, I feel like they would have been completely fine the next year. It's just, dude, when you have something that's so good, and Daboll was obviously really good at what he did, and they knew that. When you go from him to Ken Dorsey, I feel like sometimes people, I just don't feel like people know what they have until it's gone. So
my biggest memory of Kim Dorsey was the 2002 College Football National Championship game against Ohio State. He wore like long white sleeves, but it wasn't like white Under Armour sleeves. It was just like a white t-shirt, like a regular long sleeve tee. And it was like so fucking loose and baggy. And he just looked like such a fucking dork. And I was just like, dude, they're going to lose this fucking game. And sure as shit, they went out there and lost.
He was basically wearing a turtleneck.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a question about this weekend. Do you guys ever remember a more hyped football weekend just being basically a complete dud?
Especially compared to the wild card weekend, man. Like the Cowboys and Niners game was the only one that was really like that competitive, and that one was just a fucking defensive slugfest, man.
The Saturday games were awful. Like, I never felt like the Jags had a chance in that game in the second half, even with Mahomes on one leg, and then the night game was just atrocious. And then
same thing, Bengals and Bills. Like it wasn't nearly as close as the fucking scoreboard showed. Like the Bengals fucking wrecked them.
They've been wrecking a lot of people. I think they're on a 7-game, 8-game winning streak now.
9.
They're tough, man. They're battle tested from that Super Bowl run last year. They're catching the fucking Chiefs with a injured Mahomes. Like, yeah, at this point, it's going to be a huge letdown if the Bengals don't win this game Sunday.
Oh, there's a ton of pressure on them for sure.
I think there's more pressure on the Chiefs to win this game than the Bengals.
See, I feel like with the hurt Mahomes, like I feel like they already have it out, man. I feel like they're going to be playing loose. We don't even know if Mahomes is going to play at this point. Like, I'm sure they're going to shoot him up with cortisol or whatever he's going to fucking
Mahomes is playing, and he already said it. He's playing.
Dude, but if the Chiefs lose, they're 0-4 against the Bengals in the last 18 months or whatever it is. Wild. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I compare it to the Manning Brady thing. Like Manning was like 0-6 to the Patriots before he finally got over the hump or something. So I'm fucking sometimes great quarterbacks, a team just owns them. And it feels like the Bengals just kind of own the Chiefs. The Colts own the Chiefs too, though. Like I think they've beat us once in the last like 10 years or something.
I know what's going to happen here. We're all going to fucking say, oh, the Bengals are going to win, whatever. Dude, the Chiefs, I said this all season, I feel like they don't look as good as they have in past years. I know like the stats don't agree with that, but just like the eye test, just watching them, I still don't feel like they're just that team that you're like, oh man, they could come in and just boat race you by 40. I mean, yeah, Mahomes is still really good, but I
think it's the Tyreek Hill effect, man. They don't got that one play fucking instant touchdown machine anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
We said they only lost 3 games this year, though.
I know.
And Mahomes is going to be the MVP. I still think they're pretty tough, man. If Mahomes goes out and wins on Sunday now, like I think he's officially ascended to like legend status, man.
I think both of the quarterbacks in the AFC are approaching sort of like that legendary status.
Yeah.
You got to win a Super Bowl as JBONE.
Burrow got a ways to go, but he's on the fucking path though, man.
He just kind of has the swagger and what you want in your quarterback. He feels like he has the it factor. I mean, he led LSU to the greatest college season of all time.
No, he didn't.
Seems like the team kind of feeds off of him.
Yeah, he did.
95 Huskers are better in 2019.
95 Huskers, would they have like 8 touchdown passes? Threw the ball 22 times all season.
Go ahead and look at their point differential. You love seeing that. Go look at it. They had the highest point differential in college football history. Go take a look.
Burrow would have made the 95 Huskers look like little fucking bitches.
Dude, Burrow would have died against the 95 Huskers. Their defensive line would have murdered him.
Dude, 2019 LSU and 1995 Nebraska were playing 2 different sports, man.
They were.
Yeah.
And 95 Nebraska just played it better.
Wasn't it Nebraska against Miami? Was it Ken Dorsey where
No.
Nebraska ran the same fucking play every single
It
time?
was Florida. They beat them 62-24. They did play Miami, though, in 95. That's what you're thinking of. But the game you're thinking of is that when they played Florida and beat them 62-24. But the Miami game was good. It was 24-17. It was back and forth. Corey Schlesinger had the game-winning touchdown run. I remember like it was yesterday.
Man.
Was not expecting
trip
to
down
name Corey Schlesinger on the long balls tonight.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about Nebraska? People in Nebraska don't even give a fuck about Nebraska.
Well, that would be false.
The Huskers.
One more thing about the week. Stephon Diggs was getting a lot of heat for his reaction of just getting angry and then kind of storming off the field. Me, for one, I hate fucking taunting penalties. I think if you fucking knock a guy's head off legally, you could stand over him and be like, "What, bitch?" I seriously it's emotions are running high. I think taunting penalties are stupid. I think you should do whatever you want to celebrate a fucking touchdown. And when you lose, I think it's all right to fucking be visibly angry and pissed off. And if you're a receiver, of course you're going to look at your quarterback like, motherfucker, I'm open. I've been open the whole game, So this whole people are like, it's not sportsmanlike to not stick around, shake hands and stuff. It's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
I just watched the Last Dance episode where the Pistons were getting a lot of shit for just walking off the court and not shaking the Bulls' hands. It's like, they don't owe that to fucking anybody. Who gives a shit about sportsmanship? We care about wins and losses. I don't give a fuck if people shake hands at the end of the game. I think it's ridiculous that there's so many jersey swaps going on.
Yeah, if I'm a fan, dude, I want my guy. I mean, obviously, sometimes it's not the best look, but I want my guys to be pissed off after a loss. Admittedly, we all get probably way too fucking emotionally invested in these games. But there's nothing worse than you're all pissed off and in a bad mood after your team lost, and you see the guys out there just smiling and fucking joking around with the other team, being happy about it and shit, man. I want my players to be pissed off and upset and shit after a loss.
100%.
I'm with you. All right. Well, fellas, I think that covers this week, unless you guys have anything else to add.
It's on to the championship.
On to the championship games. We'll do a little drop here. This ball has not been well to me this year, by the way. I have not done well at picking NFL games this year. So we'll see. I think I feel good about this week. My picks, I feel like I'm solid. What's the count, Seth? Unload it on us. Did you have it?
I'm definitely winning. I'm 2 games up on everybody with 3 games to go, and you're 5 games back, man. So it's pretty much a wrap unless I miss every game the rest of the way.
We'll see. Maybe I'll just pick opposite of you. I don't even think I could catch you anyway.
Yeah, you definitely have the mix. Jordan and JBONE are both. So
JBONE's only one game back. He's only got 2 losses. He didn't lose a game this weekend. I lost 1.
Yeah, so I'm 11-1. JBONE's 10-2. Jordan is 9-3 now. And yeah, 7-3. And yeah, Hawk, I think you're 5-5, dude.
Oh well, fuck you guys. Like I said, my picks were accurate. The players didn't play how they should have.
There you go.
All right. We're going to start with the NFC. Let's do it. We're going to say it's the Niners are going to Philly, the early game.
I'm waffling on my picks, man. I said Niners going to the Super Bowl all the way, but Philly looks so good Saturday night. I do think this is going to be a coin flip game. It could definitely go either way, but I think the home field advantage is going to be enough to give Philly a little boost, and I think they go on. But I would not be shocked one bit if San Francisco pulled this game out, but I think Philly wins a tight one.
I think this is probably 2 of the biggest toss-up games in championship game history in a long time. This is the best 4 teams that are left by far. I feel like every once in a while a wild card team will make a run at it, and you'll be like, are they really one of the best 4 teams? But, dude, Eagles and Niners is going to be just a fucking slugfest. I mean, I'm with Seth. Before this weekend, the Eagles hadn't looked good, really good in over a month. Obviously, that was when Hurts got hurt. But dude, Saturday night, that team looked like a machine. They finally had a fully healthy defensive line, a fully healthy offensive line, all their weapons played. I'm going Eagles as well. I feel like they're the more complete team. I feel like the Niners are really good. Also, McCaffrey's going to be nursing a calf injury. That's not good. And Purdy has to have a comeback to earth game eventually. Like, it has to happen. And if it's going to happen against anybody, it's going to happen against the team with 3 of the top 10 corners in the NFL. So I feel like this is the week it happens.
Unfortunately, I think I have to agree. I think the Eagles, and it's funny because we weren't sold on them like the whole season. None of us. We were always like, I don't trust the Eagles. They were the Eagles and the Vikings. We were saying the same things about both teams.
I feel like I'm probably letting their performance Saturday night influence me too much, but they looked really, really tough, man. I would say the Niners, they got the recipe because the one team that beat the Eagles when Hurts was healthy was the Redskins, and they did it by just running the ball nonstop. I think they had almost 40 minutes time of possession, and the Niners definitely got the capability of putting together a game plan like that. But I think if it was at San Francisco, I'd be picking San Fran, but being in Philly, I just see them winning something like a 16-13 game, something like that.
So we're going Eagles across the board here. Okay. AFC, the 5:30 game, at least in the Central Time Zone, which is all that really matters.
Yeah, we're all right here in the heartland.
Bengals,
God's country.
Hell yeah.
Bengals going to Kansas City. A game also played in the Central Time Zone.
I'm gonna freaking double down on backing out on my Super Bowl pick. I think the Chiefs win, man. I think they put whatever the most high-end fucking painkiller, fucking performance-enhancing drugs they can inject in. I don't think the NFL tests during the playoffs anyways, dude. So they can get the deer antler spray, whatever they fucking want, dude. Cambodian breast milk. They're going to pump it into Patrick Mahomes' ankle, and I think he knows that this is a legacy game for him. He can't let this fucking upstart Joe Burrow beat him again. I think the Chiefs get the win.
He needs a blood transfusion from a virgin.
They're going to sacrifice fucking 6 virgins on Saturday night in the hotel.
They're going to sacrifice Pat Mahomes' brother at midfield.
Fucking Mahomes would love it at this point. He would love his brother to just disappear.
Dude, there's just something about this Bengals team that, I don't know, man. They're definitely not the best team. Like, when you look at that team overall, they're definitely not the best team. Burrow just has a swagger about him that it's crazy. The only thing that worries me a little bit about the Bengals is their secondary is absolute dog shit. Eli Apple's been talking the last 2 days on Twitter. This is definitely a time where he could possibly get absolutely roasted. And I'm going to go Bengals, but it's a 50-50 game for me.
I'm going to go Cincy. I like the swagger of the Bengals team. The one thing that blows my mind is how Kelsey is literally the only target Mahomes really has, but you can't cover the guy.
Wide open.
How the fuck? Like, how are you not triple teaming Kelsey? There's nobody else on the team who could catch anything.
This is
crazy.
I'm going to say one thing, and this is kind of giving away my Super Bowl pick. I think the 2 NFC teams are way better than the 2 AFC teams. I know that might get some heat. I just feel like the 2 NFC teams are way more complete teams.
Oh, yeah. AFC teams just got the quarterback. That's it.
And I just feel like either one of the NFC teams has beaten either one of these AFC teams in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I feel like they're way more prepared for it.
I'll take quarterback over complete team any day of the week. When I say that, I mean like a quarterback like Burrow or Mahomes over a complete Niners team with like Purdy, I guess.
Well, last year proved that theory wrong because Stafford was definitely not better than Burrow, and his team won because their defense played better.
I'm not saying it works every single time. I'm saying if I had the choice, if I had to make the choice, I'd always take the team with the better quarterback. Most likely, I would say. I mean, I'm sure that maybe there's a few instances, but I'm not in today's NFL. Quarterback plays 90% of what success is.
I hate the Eagles. Like, as a team, I think their fan base sucks.
They're like
everything.
second to the Saints, man.
But I'm not going to lie to you. If that team gets to the Super Bowl, they're not losing. They're just not. Their defensive line and all the weapons and Hurts the way he's playing right now, they're not going to lose.
I still feel like a good D coordinator could shut Hurts down, man. I'm not sold on Hurts at all, dude. Like, he's decent. He's good, but
the problem is, okay, you're exactly right. So here's what the Giants did. They sucked all their linebackers down to try to make it so he couldn't run. So then he threw in the first half and hit A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who were just standing wide open. And when they weren't wide open, Dallas Goedert was wide open. That's the problem with that team,
They're fucking loaded. You're right, dude. He doesn't got to be that great, and he just got to get the ball out.
He has to be average, not throw picks, and just get the ball to those guys and let them do the hard work. And then what happens in the second half, they suck everybody back, and then they just hand the ball to Miles Sanders, and he runs for 100 yards.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
And this is why, like, because in fantasy, you can veto trades, you know? And in the NFL, when you see Philly just fleecing Tennessee for A.J. Brown.
Well, Mike Vrabel would have vetoed that if he could.
It's almost like the owner should be able to speak up and be like, the Eagles can't get A.J. Brown because then they're going to be fucking unbeatable.
What about the Bears just handing them Robert Quinn at the deadline? They were like, oh, you want Robert Quinn? Cool. And then before the season, the Saints, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was like rated as a top 10 corner, and they just gave him to the Eagles for a 5th-round pick. They literally have the second best corner rated in the NFL, the 5th, and like the 11th right now. And all 3 of those guys are starting for the Eagles right now.
And the Eagles are good because of their offense, so that's weird.
Their defense can ball, though, dude. People just overlook it, but
loaded,
their defense
them
is
and the
really
Niners
good.
Are by far the 2 most loaded rosters in the league.
Colts are only a quarterback away, my friends.
A quarterback, a left tackle, probably another receiver.
We're getting your boy, though. It's looking like Dan Quinn's going to be the dude. He's the first one to get a second interview.
He's a good coach. Not a great coach. He's a good coach, though.
There's not many great coaches.
Yeah. I think he'll be better now, though, because I think he did get humbled a little bit with the Falcons. I mean, you got to get humbled a little bit when what happened.
I thought the Falcons was more just roster construction, though, than him, man. I didn't feel like he made that many bad calls. I felt like it was just the defensive talent was just never there for him, you know, and he had no really say in the roster. It was Thomas Dimitroff drafting everybody, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what he can do. Did you win any money this week, Jordan? How was the betting front? Besides the $50 you got from me.
So I had the Jaguars on Saturday. I had the Eagles on Sunday night. That was my biggest bet in quite a while. I took the Eagles for a lot. I did not bet. I bet the over on Bengals Bills. I didn't put very much on it, even though it was snowing. I felt like both those offenses would keep scoring, so that didn't hit. And then I did take the Niners on Sunday night. So it was a good week.
Good week. So you got it all. Have you been stockpiling for the year? And then when you come to this weekend, it's just you lay it all on the line.
No. So my biggest bets are always Super Bowl weekend because I bet like 100 different things. So I do stockpile for the Super Bowl. So 3 weeks from now, I'll put a lot of bets in. Yeah, I think last year I put in 78 bets for the Super Bowl.
Damn.
Jesus.
Dude, I bet everything. I bet national anthem, coin toss, Gatorade. I bet it all, man.
Wait. What can you bet on the national anthem?
The length, if it's going to go over or under the all-time average length. I think it's like a minute 38. It's like the all-time average. You can go over under on it. I'm fascinated by gambling. I just never bet because I'm like just super risk averse, but I always keep up on it and stuff. And the Gatorade, you can pick which color Gatorade it's going to be that they dump on the coach.
I've hit that the last 4 years, and if you pick the right one, it can be a big payout. So, yeah, and I always bet I try to bet either every receiver on both teams over under. I'll bet most of the running backs over under, both quarterbacks.
First touchdown's always a big prop.
Yeah, whether or not they'll throw a pick, I'll always bet that. Whether there's a score in the last,
is there going to be a safety?
Whether there's a score in the last 2 minutes of the game, last 2 minutes of the half. Yeah, I bet all that stuff, man. It's just fun, dude. The Super Bowl is so much fun to watch, and when you got 78 different bets to watch, it makes it even funner.
Every fucking play means
more
something.
Fun, whatever.
When you have money on every single player's performance.
It does make it a lot more.
Think all your bets not just fucking end up canceling each other out, though, so they all end up being a wash. Like, if you hit on this one, that means 2 other ones are going up in smoke.
I mean, I'm not going to say how much money I won last year, but it was well above the $3,000 mark, so... If you hit the right bets, it can pay out a hell of a lot more than the bet you lose. So the Gatorade bet pays out a lot. The national anthem, heads or tails, that doesn't do anything because those are just even money. But I don't know, man. You gotta find the right stuff. I don't bet every single thing. Like there's some people who put in 200 bets for the Super Bowl, and I just think that's too much because I mean, yeah, you're literally just betting against yourself at that point. I don't put anything against
78 though.
Yeah. I don't put anything like against myself. Like there, you guys would not believe like how much.
I feel like that's got to be like some fucking quantum physics to be able to lay down 78 fucking bets and have none of them contradict each other.
Well, you have to remember, dude,
like the fucking web chart.
You have to remember all the bets I put in also have game long bets and quarter bets. So like first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, like all those yardage bets have quarter bets too.
Do you ever hedge?
So I'm not like
I'm
never screwing my. No, I'm not a big into hedging unless it's like a big parlay or anything, but I don't put a lot of those in just because it's so hard to hit anything above like a 3 or 4 team parlay.
I just think it's funny how you bet 78 and then you're like, this fucking idiot I know bet 200 bets. Like, you're so much better. Like, I only bet 78.
Yeah, but
this
the problem
guy,
is,
this
dude,
fucking
okay,
idiot,
so,
200.
This fucking degenerate.
Okay, so there last year there was like 1,200 bets you can put in for the Super Bowl. And like, I mean, I put in 78. Yeah, I know that seems like a lot, but it's really not. Like, dude, there's people that are standing next to me and putting $5,000 on all these bets. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Where did I go wrong in life? $5,000 on like a passing yardage? Jesus Christ.
Do you bet at a sports book or something?
Yeah, so there's a sports book like 30 minutes from my house, so I'll drive over there for those. I don't do those ones online.
Oh, so Super Bowl bets you place at the sports book.
I do in person.
Everything else is on the app then.
The only way like I go there is if like it's a really big bet and I feel more comfortable doing it because dude, with the internet, who fucking knows, the bet could not go through or they could be like, oh, we never saw that bet and it just gets randomly canceled. Because dude, I had a 4-team parlay. It was probably about 5 years ago and it was coming down to the last leg and then all of a sudden it wasn't in my account anymore. The guy's like, oh, I never saw that bet. And yeah, I almost killed that dude for that, but
you got to start taking screenshots now.
I do take screenshots and I send it to the bookie when I put it in.
Gordon's going to be busting kneecaps, dude.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I think that does this. Anything else to wrap up the week except fuck JBONE?
Fuck JBONE, dude. I hope the stuff you had to do is important, JBONE.
I just don't understand how you commit to something and back out half the season.
Carbon black mines, man. Maybe they found some reserves. Maybe the U.S. economic troubles are over. We're going to export carbon black.
Hawk, we only hit 12 views now. What do you think you would have got doing a solo show? One?
I did one solo show ever of anything, and it was I live casted my fantasy draft, and it was a fucking disaster. Holy shit.
You forgot what you were doing. You're like,
well,
fuck.
Dude, when you're on a fantasy draft, like you're focusing. But so I was doing it and there's a camera on me. So you're trying to focus on what's going on, but also trying to not just stand there like a fucking idiot. So you got to talk and there's really nothing to talk about. And I didn't know how to share my screen. So I couldn't like share what was going on.
And if it's a snake draft, you got like 15 minutes between fucking picks.
It was an auction draft. So at least that did. I don't do snake drafts. Those are fucking terrible. But yeah, so I won't ever like if it ever just had to be me doing long balls, we'd just call it a wash on the week because I'm not subjecting myself or the viewers to that again.
Are we going to take next week off just because there's no games next weekend?
I was going to wait till we got off here to have this conversation, but we can have it on air. I don't care.
Might as well.
All right, fuck it. I think one of the next 2 weeks we don't record. So if you guys pick,
I think we take next week.
Let's take next week off and we'll do the week of the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, then everyone, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us on another epic episode of Long Balls.